The grand beginning of the Wonder Voyage arc of Pokémon Horizons just aired, episode 137, Reboot Off to the World of Adventure, and this episode had a lot riding on it, because now that the main storyline of Horizons is over, this is basically setting the direction for the whole next year of the show. On top of that, the community has spent the past month arguing over one very important question: who the heck is gonna catch that Feebas? So after all the build-up, did this episode actually live up to expectations? Let's talk about it in today's review video. The episode opened with the Horizon Volt Tacklers suffering from something that I genuinely didn't even know was possible in the Pokemon world: boredom. You're telling me you have an airship, magical creatures, unlimited travel, a world full of wonder, and you're still sitting around bored? Bruh, I would never. I mean, of course it's nice that they can now relax after all of the world-ending stakes for 3 years, but you don't have to look so miserable, man. Luckily, Freed then arrives on a break from his Exceed work, and he wants their help with some kind of amazing Pokemon. But all the kids are feeling lazy and uninspired. They say they don't really care to see an amazing Pokemon because they've already seen so many of them. They just want to do nothing. If I'm honest, I'm really not a fan of that at all, man. I think there's definitely a way to write our heroes being uncertain of their path after Laqua, without making them feel as totally out of character as they are here. Like, yeah, our heroes might be chillin' or unsure of themselves, but there's no way they would snuff at Freed and an amazing Pokemon, you know? That feels forced. But Freed won't take no for an answer, so he forces them to come along to a giant lake, and he commands them to try and catch a Feebas here. Our heroes think it'll be easy peasy because of Feebas' Pokedex entry, but it takes hours of fishing before they even find one. And anyone who tried to catch a Feebas in Ruby and Sapphire as a kid already knows the struggle. So all 4 of our heroes want to catch the Feebas. And if you saw my video last week, then let's be honest, Liko is the only perfect option here. Milotic would fit her character extraordinarily well. Check out that video if you want to know why. I found the bickering between Alt and Roy to be really fun and endearing here. I love their dynamic and I'm glad it's still being showcased in this arc too. But the real star of the episode is absolutely that Feebas. This thing isn't just a Pokemon, it's an absolute demon, dude. Our heroes try everything to catch it. Quaquaval forcing it out of the water, Meowscarada grabbing it with vines, combo attacks with Disarm and Voice, Confuse Ray, Wave Crash and Acrobatics, but Feebas just effortlessly counters or dodges everything. It even turns into a fidget spinner at one point, dude. This is the funniest little fish I could have ever imagined. It has so much personality, constantly taunting our heroes, laughing at them all with its goofy voice, dancing around to mock them. It really doesn't stop bullying and harassing them, I love it. But Freed uses this to teach him a lesson, that you never know what things are truly like until you go out there and try. After all, our heroes assumed Feebas would be easy, but clearly when they went out there and tried, they discovered they were wrong. Okay Freed, you may be on thin ice for your behaviour during and after the time skip, but I'm picking up what you're putting down here. That's a good lesson to teach them. Our heroes theorise that Feebas may be the kind of Pokemon who just loves attention, who wants people to chase it, and they're kind of obsessed with how unique that is. Me too, man, me too. I so badly want one of our heroes to catch this thing. It's so rare that a random wild Pokemon has this much charm, this much personality. I pray it doesn't go to waste, man. This Feebas can even walk on land, bruh, so that eliminates the only thing stopping it from joining the main cast as a fish. Anyway, what's important is that through chasing this chaotic little goblin around, our heroes start noticing the uniqueness of other Pokemon it interacts with too. They see a Doduo dreaming of flying, a Kakuna moving around with silk ropes, a Rhydon literally surfing, a Machop dreaming of being a Geodude, a Rabombi living in a Combee hive, a Slowbro that defies all speed laws of its species, a Pelipper using Shockwave, which by the way reminds me of that Pelipper with the Pokemon in its mouth from AG. But yeah, earlier in the episode, none of them really paid much attention to these Pokemon, but now they're seeing them in a totally different light. By seeing the uniqueness of this Feebas and following it around, they're being reminded that every Pokemon, even within the same species, has its own personality, quirks, dreams, and that's such a sweet message, man. That evening, Freed reveals that this Feebas that they've been chasing is pretty much famous for being the strongest Feebas that nobody can ever catch, and for once it kinda feels like information that he intentionally withheld, because he probably knew that the experience itself was the most important learning lesson for our heroes. Big up Freed for this episode, dude. This was by far the best he's been since before the time skip. And our heroes had so much fun rediscovering Pokemon that they finally snapped out of the rut they've been stuck in after Laqua. They learn now that the adventure never really ends. Even when you feel burned out, there's always something exciting out there waiting for you. At dawn the next morning, our heroes watch Feebas and Cap have this beautiful final clash in the sky with Horizon Volt Tackle, before Feebas escapes again, disappearing into the lake, remaining uncaught. Okay, so of course I'm gutted that nobody caught Feebas. It literally would have been the most perfect Pokemon ever for Liko. Milotic fits her so well, and the marketing absolutely wanted us to think someone was catching it. The previews, the tweets, and of course, followed by the hiatus. All of that had the Feebas catching theories completely taken over the community for the whole month. People were arguing and arguing and arguing over who would catch Feebas, and it turns out nobody did. So yeah, Pokemon definitely fooled us, but even more than that, we fully clowned ourselves, man. We convinced ourselves it was guaranteed when it never was. I do get why nobody caught Feebas though, because the real purpose of Feebas was to remind our heroes how exciting and fascinating Pokemon can be, how there are endless unique Pokemon out there still waiting to be discovered, and the episode handled that really well. Liko admits that she wasn't sure what to do after Laqua, but now she wants to keep going on exciting adventures and taking on challenges with everyone. Roy agrees and says he also wants to sing with Skeledirge all over the world. Dot and Quaquaval want to learn more about Pokemon. Alt and Sableye still want to be the strongest. Okay, so I've got to be honest here. I absolutely love the premise of our heroes rediscovering their passion for adventure and Pokemon, and I think the whole Feebas storyline did a really great job reigniting that sense of wonder and curiosity in them again. I really liked that. But at the same time, I'm kind of disappointed by how vague everyone's personal goals still feel after Laqua. Hear me out. For the last 3 years of Horizons, our heroes didn't really have specific individual character goals or dreams that they constantly actively worked towards, and that's because the entire conflict with the Explorers and Laquium was the main focus, and that was fine, it made sense. But now that all of that is over, now that the main storyline is over, this was the opportunity for the writers to make our heroes stand out individually. This was the opportunity for our heroes to create their own unique paths. But instead, I kind of feel like they made all of their motivations feel way more thematic rather than personal. Like, yeah, our heroes want to keep adventuring, exploring the world, meeting Pokemon, but that's very generic and vague, you know? That's not specific for each of them as characters. Like, what specifically do each of them want to do? What drives them? What makes them unique from each other? How will they progress their own individual dreams outside of just going on group adventures like always? That's what Horizons really needs to define way more clearly in my opinion. Give each of the characters their own unique direction and identity. Like Liko, I really want the series to focus on her original dream again of understanding Pokemon's feelings and emotions, helping Pokemon through their struggles, bonding with misunderstood Pokemon, catching Pokemon connected to those themes. That's when Liko feels the best to me, the most unique. And Dot too. I think it would be so fun and in character if they fully leaned into her becoming this massive worldwide streamer, trying to become the biggest streamer ever. Imagine her doing collabs with other streamers, documentaries, challenge streams, interviews, traveling to incredible places and meeting amazing Pokemon all around the world. That would be such a strong identity and direction for her character. And I think Roy needs a more clearly defined direction now that he already achieved his Black Rayquaza dream. They slightly hinted at the musical angle with him wanting to sing around the world with Skeledirge, and I really like that idea, but they need to lean into it more, you know? Have Roy become this musical performer traveling the world with his Pokemon. They can start a band together, do performances. That would feel so fitting for him and his team. Alt is honestly the one character whose goal already feels the clearest to me. Becoming the strongest is definitely simple, but it works, and we know why he wants to do it, to protect the people he cares about. That's fleshed out enough, you know? So I am happy with how they handled Alt here. But I do kinda wish they also brought up finding his father though. That would add an even more personal emotional layer to his goal ahead. So yeah, hopefully you guys get what I mean. I love how this episode handled our heroes, rediscovering their excitement through Feebas and all these unique wild Pokemon. I think that was genuinely great. But I also think Horizon still needs much stronger individual character focus going forwards. Because if all of the main 4 characters' goals are just, let's explore the world and meet Pokemon, then I feel like they're really risking the cast blending together rather than growing as individuals. Like, think back to the older seasons. Ash would be on the gym challenge, working towards the Pokemon Leagues. May, Dawn, Serena would be doing their own performances and stuff. Brock wanted to become a Pokemon breeder, then a Pokemon doctor. Silem wanted to become a connoisseur. Iris was trying to connect with dragon Pokemon. Kiawe was trying to become an island kahuna. Go was trying to catch every Pokemon on the road to getting Mew. Do you see what I mean? All of the previous main characters of the show had very specific character goals and progression. They felt super unique from one another in that way, despite still being a group. That's what Liko, Roy, Dot and Alt need really bad, and I'm kinda sad that they didn't set that up in this episode, you know? So the Rising Voltacklers are all invigorated to give it their all again, the adults included. Oh yeah, and by the way, the Mighty G is elsewhere in the world doing superhero stuff, and Freed is off back to Exceed. I'm sure we'll see them both from time to time though. Our heroes set sail in the Brave Olivine, and that's where the episode ended. Overall, I have to say I really respect the writers for slowing the pace down so much after Laqua. I think both the audience and the characters needed a breather like this. The Ryzen Voltacklers lost sight of why they started adventuring in the first place, and this chaotic little Feebas basically reignited that spark for them. Honestly, in a weird way, I almost feel like this Feebas is symbolic of Pokémon Horizons itself. It's something that a lot of people overlooked at first, but then the more time you spend with it, the more personality and charm and heart and greatness you realise it has. So while I am gutted that nobody caught Feebas, especially Liko, I'm just glad this little fishy had such a big impact on both the characters and the show. I've always adored episodes that capture the fantastical wonder of the Pokemon world, because that's what made me fall in love with the series as a kid in the first place. The first episode I watched was the one with the giant Dragonite and the lighthouse, and that's the definition of that. So yeah, an episode fully focused on Pokemon and all their unique quirks, that was always going to win me over. It just felt so fantastical, man. I don't think it was perfect. I still don't really love our heroes being so dismissive at the start, that felt kind of out of character to me, and I definitely wish the writers focused more on the individual dreams of our heroes. But outside of those things, I'm happy with the direction they're setting up here for Wonder Voyage. So let me know your thoughts on the episode below, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Come join our Discord server using the link in the description, and thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members like Jascadia, Toten, Not Mini, Hope, Jay, Jackson, and everyone else on screen too. On that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!